This is a 5-part series on food business basics. And tonight it's all about restaurants. And we're super excited to have Noisette Pastry Kitchen and La Granada Latin Kitchen with us tonight. Yay. I'm putting this on with Micah Elconin from Eugene's Table in partnership with Oregon Rain, the organization that I work for. And like I said, this is a 5-part series, Food Business Basics. And I'll talk more about all the different remaining series coming up. I'm Ariel Ruben, the Lane County Venture Catalyst serving Oregon Rain. And we partner with organizations to support small businesses. And I'm also the founder of my own marketing firm. And I like to say I'm the innovation officer at my family's business, Hummingbird Wholesale. And I'm going to hand it over to Micah to introduce himself, if you'd like to.
Yeah, hi, my name is Micah Elconin. I'm the director of Eugene's Table. We're a partnership of food and beverage manufacturing companies in Eugene, Oregon. And I am also a former entrepreneur. I was the chef and founder of The Educated Vegetable, which was a personal chef business that I operated back when I lived in Southern California.
Awesome. Thanks, Micah. So today's agenda, we're just going to do this short welcome and then the panel discussion, and we'll take questions throughout. So if you have questions, you're welcome to just put them in the chat, and then we'll conclude at 6:30. And just virtual etiquette, I always have to mention, just remain muted if you don't mind, just so that the background noise doesn't interrupt the session. And if you have any questions, like I mentioned, you can put them in the chat, or you can even use the raise hand feature. And because it's a small group, you're welcome to just unmute. And this is a place for fun, learning, and inclusivity. Please be polite, supportive, and positive in conversation and in the chat. And this event is being recorded, so I'll make sure to share the recording after the fact with you all, and it'll be posted on YouTube, and I'll share it on Facebook as well. Our mission at RAIN is to partner with communities to catalyze entrepreneurial ecosystems, connect entrepreneurs to resources, including overlooked entrepreneurs, and contribute to the creation of prosperous economies. We like to say we're building infrastructure for startups, so making sure that all of these pieces are activated in rural communities across Oregon. And we can't do this alone, so we always love catalyzing community. And welcome whoever just joined. We're happy to have you. So we love catalyzing community, building partnerships, and especially now it's important to stay connected, and all are welcome. Huge thank you to partners, mentors, entrepreneurs, and funders. We love creating thriving entrepreneurial ecosystems with all of you. This is our team, and it's growing and growing. We actually just got a big grant, and we're going to be expanding our team further. So stay tuned for more. We're also going to be developing a funding platform. We're super excited. There's actually a lack of crowdfunding capabilities, but there is the Oregon interest rate offering. And we're going to be able to allow small businesses to sort of fundraise in their backyard, which will be really cool. So people can like throw in $500 and we can sort of crowdsource, which will be amazing. So stay tuned for more exciting things coming your way. There's always mentorship opportunities available. So please reach out to me. Always would love to chat with you. Our coming up food business basics topics, we have consumer products next week. With Oregon Tea Company and also Red Ape Cinnamon. So stay tuned for that one, that'll be great. And also agriculture and farming the following week with White Rabbit Gardens and Organic Redneck. Maybe some familiar names here. And then food business basics, beer, wine, and spirits, the last concluding session, the last Thursday of the month with Homegrown Public House in Florence, Hayworth, and Coburg, and then Coburg Distillery. So stay tuned, those will be fabulous. Please join us. So again, today we have restaurants with Noisette and La Granada, and I'm super excited to welcome Michael Landsberg, the co-owner of Noisette, and Evie Hernandez, the co-owner of La Granada. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and hand it over to Micah, who will introduce our guests and then start the discussion. So welcome.
Great. Thanks, Ariel. So yeah, before we get into, I guess I'll say the flow of this will be that I've got some questions that I'm going to ask Michael and Evie about operating their businesses, and then we'll have some time at the end if folks have questions. But before I get into my questions, excuse me, I wanted to give Michael and Evie a chance to tell us a little bit about their backgrounds and how they got into their current roles at La Granada and Noisette. So Michael, we'll start with you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Michael Landsberg. I'm the co-owner with my wife and partner, Toby Sovek of Noisette Pastry Kitchen, located in downtown Eugene. I've been a chef for over 20 years in this industry, working all over the world, and primarily in fine dining. It was a kind of I remember I been in this industry. I started in my teens. I was born in Vietnam. I was an orphan, and being an orphan, you're hungry a lot. So I naturally gravitated to food because food was something that brought happiness to me. When I was a teen, I started to work in restaurants. I continued to do so during my high school years, and I continued and pursued. I went to CIA, Culinary Institute of America in upstate New York. I graduated there, and it offered me an opportunity to travel. So that was my other passion and love, but I wanted to travel. And with my degree, I was able to work and live in France, in Germany, and Switzerland. So I had fun in Europe for quite some time. And then I traveled all over the world. Because again, it's just going to different cultures and different countries and being exposed to the food and was exciting and invigorating. And then after my travel tours came to an end, I settled. I started working. Came back to this country and started working in cities. And I've worked in literally so many. Let's see, New York, San Francisco, Seattle, LA. So I worked in so many these big cities, and again, primarily in fine dining and hotel industry. And my best friend from culinary school was from Portland, and I spent a summer there and loved the Northwest. And I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I remember that when I was working in LA, that there was an opportunity in Eugene. They were looking for a chef, and I was looking for a change. And I looked at my wife, and she said, what are you thinking? And I said, well, there's an opportunity in Northwest, and I'm thinking that I'm really interested in it because it was just an opportunity that I was ready for. And 15 years later, I'm still in Eugene. I'm still loving Eugene. It was a pretty big change, lifestyle change for both of us. But enjoying traveling and enjoying changing things up. Eugene really fit us well. I was able to, I worked in the top places in Eugene. I was a chef at Marche, executive chef at King Estate Winery, executive chef at Oregon Electric Station. And eventually, I said, well, I didn't really want my own restaurant. I knew that, because it's a big responsibility, and I didn't want to be necessarily settled to a place. But an opportunity came up and I talked it over with my wife, and literally, I think it happened in 3 months. We made the decision, okay, well, why don't we do something unconventional? Meaning, why don't we open up a bake shop / retail / cafe location? And that was the first beginnings of Noisette. I remember it actually opened up during a very difficult time period because it was actually the banking recession of 2012. So there was a recession, and I remember I convinced my wife that that as long as the concept of Noisette was recession-proof, we should be good. Because if it passed muster in a recession, then there's nowhere else to go but up. And we've been open now for 9 years. It's been an amazing journey, and we've tried, added, and took away different things, parts of Noisette, but it's a wonderful learning adventure that we're still trying to figure out. So, and that's it. And that's my story.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael.
Yep.
Evie, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got into your work at La Granada?
Yeah, well, we never planned opening La Granada. So sometimes we've said it just fell from the sky onto our lap and we hold on to it. Basically, everything started when my husband fell off the roof and shattered his heel. At that point, I had to take care of all the, getting the, becoming the breadwinner, right? And I said, you need to stay home so you can recover completely. And I said, it's okay if it's 2-3 years, but he needs to work. He's a person who needs to work. And as he stayed home, he started cooking. And I would come home and he would be on YouTube, and I was wondering what he was doing. Anyways, he was getting into all this. He took a class with Huerto de la Familia. And later on, we had we had a little place there in Springfield with Sprout by back then was Netco. And they saw Baldo, they liked him, and they invited him to become one of the restaurant's incubators. That was a restaurant incubator. So they asked him to join the program. And I thought, well, this is a great opportunity because then you can, practice. And after the 2 years, instead of starting a restaurant or going on with it, you just, we decide not to open one, and you get a good job. You get a job at a good restaurant. Well, different things happen. The program was supposed to be 2 years, but they stopped it and they said you can stay as tenants. We stayed. Later on, it got bought. And then the person who bought it basically leased it to what is now the public house in Springfield. And so we have gone through all the different changes that have happened. We've been there for 5 years now. To us, it's a lot because we had never planned on having a restaurant, but this has been a great experience for us. And we're very happy to be there.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to go into some other questions now. First one is, how do you guys cultivate a top-notch customer experience? And more specifically, what processes have you put in place to help ensure that customers have their needs met? So we'll shift a little bit from talking about food to showing people a good time. And Michael, I'll start with you again.
Okay, well, for us, I think what's important is you have to meet the customer where they're at, because it's like we have several ways for the customers to communicate with us, and whether it be on our website, whether it's social media, online stores, third-party services, texting. We want to be available to however the customer wants to communicate with us, because we found that if we in the beginning, if we wanted to channel people just to the website, but some people didn't want to go to the website. Some people just wanted to go to the online store, or they wanted to email through social, and it was like, okay, we have to make this decision. Do we want to be, accessible to our customers, on whatever platform that they choose, or do we want to limit that communication? And we decided that we didn't want to limit that communication. Yes, it's a lot more work, but we feel that our customers reach out to us, and they're constantly surprised how quickly we respond to their inquiries, their queries. They're like, oh, thank you for responding, but we know that that definitely helps create a top-notch customer experience. That when you're accessible, when you're and when you're there for them. I remember I had a poor experience in a restaurant in Portland, and I wanted to share that experience with whoever I can communicate at the restaurant. And I remember that it was very hard to find a communication on their website, because there wasn't an email address, there was no, and there was no way for me to verbally describe to them my experience. And I wanted to do that, to share that, it wasn't a great experience, but I just wanted to let them know. So I think that you really have to be able to make sure that you have customers have multiple ways to communicate with you as a business. A second thing I think is important is I think you have to allow your customers to order your products in as many ways as possible. Again, if you just have one venue, whether it be your website or online, that might be limiting, because we found that a lot of people order our products through social media. A lot of people order our products through our online store. So we have our products in a lot of different areas. So when customers, because we don't know where they're looking for our products. So we want to make sure that whatever platform, whether it be social, we have a lot of people that text or call the shop and say, hey, can you hold a loaf of bread for us? Sure, we want to be able to convey to the customer that however best you want our product, we will make sure that it's available for you. And so the more avenues that you can have the customers to buy your products, the better off for the business. And also, I think you need to be clear to your customer what you offer and what you don't, because oftentimes, it's like, I remember like in Noisette, we get calls for like cakes last minute. Well, we're not that type of business. We would love to be that type of business, but we're just not, because of space or timing. So we're very, very clear with what our offerings are, what we can and cannot do, and we don't really stray from that, because people know from experience, and they communicate with us that, oh, Noisette's the place, you can call them up and ask them to hold a baguette or ask them to hold several pastries or savories for you, and they'll do that for you. So the message is very clear to them, and they know what we can do and what we can't do. And oftentimes I think that's hard in a restaurant environment, because especially in this pandemic, a lot of things are off the table, so you don't know but we've been very clear that we open 7 days a week. We have very specific hours. We have a ginormous range of products that that for some people surprise them. Like, for example, I remember the first week we opened Noisette, and literally it was like day 2 or 3, and I remember a customer wanting soup, and the name is Noisette Pastry Kitchen, and I said, yeah, we don't have any soups, because it wasn't really in our, we didn't think about having soups, because it was just kind of a cafe with a lot of pastry inspired products. And the customer said, no, you really should have soups. And I said, oh, okay, we'll think about it. But, again, we've just been open 2 or 3 days. And then the customer came back the following week and was like, do you have soups now? And I was like, well, no, not yet, but, just hang with us. And, and because of that customer, we have soups now. And so it was great to have this communication and honesty with our customers. And, it surprised us what was originally going to be just a very specific pastry kitchen concept to now it's, we have cakes, we have wedding cakes, we have events, we have all different things, which really helped us in this pandemic time. So those are the three things I think would definitely cultivate top-notch customer experiences. That you want to meet the customers where they are, you want to be able to have the customers buy your stuff wherever they are, whatever platform or whatever media they're comfortable with. And you want to be also really clear what you offer and what you don't offer. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. I can say that I'm reflecting on my time in Noisette. I've ordered soup a number of times since that came on the menu. So yeah. And I've also enjoyed the flexible way that you work with customers. I've placed some pastry orders for events that start a little bit before you open in the morning, and the staffs snuck me in to pick up stuff. So that was really helpful.
Sure.
Awesome. Evie, do you want to talk a little bit about how you guys engage customer service at La Granada?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned before, we started at what was Sprout before. And so it was a small place, not very busy. And we had a lot of chance, a lot of opportunities to get really connected with our community there in Springfield. So basically, there's two main lines for us. There's so many ways, so many things that should be considered, but it basically comes to two things. And the first one is to have an honest, sincere, heartfelt desire to really serve people, right? Sometimes you get someone very polite, but they sound very much like a computer. But we really like to have that connection with people, a human connection. And so for us, that's the one line that we always take care of. And we train our staff that way. We treat our staff that way. And so, that is something that is very important to us. And the other line would be more factual, right? And it's more like the quality and the flavor. People come for the first time and they want to come back because they really liked it. In our case, we do have food from different countries. And something that is very interesting is like we have Peruvian food. And we also have Mexican food. But there are a lot of Mexican restaurants around, so people get to choose what they like, right? Which one, but there's not a lot of Peruvian restaurants. And so I would say that we have more Peruvian customers than Mexican customers. But it's because, like I said, when they come and they're like, oh, wow, this reminds me of home. I used to get out of college and I would go and grab this dish. And now, it reminds me. And so that's a big one. But once again, like I said, mostly quality and flavor, and also being able to help them in every way possible, like Michael was mentioning, have ways for them to communicate with us. Not everybody wants to be close and personal. They want, phone or just online. And we try. We probably still need to work on it, but that is very important to us, to keep in close contact with everyone any way they need to. Yeah.
Thanks, Evie. Yeah, I was excited to ask you that question because I've had numerous people say to me when I talk about La Granada, just like the only thing they like better than the food is the way they're treated when they're ordering from you guys. They feel really, I think a lot of customers really feel welcomed into the space, which I imagine is a little more challenging to do in the sort of a community kitchen environment that you have there. So yeah, that's really important stuff.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about sort of the money side of restaurant work. It's sort of, you know, a lot of folks know that restaurants can be challenging, and it can be hard to be profitable when you're not really aware of what's going on financially. So I'm curious if you guys have any specific tactics or tools that you use to help track your financial performance. And we'll just keep going, Michael, Ebby. I think that works well.
Sure. At Noisette, we use a modern POS system called Square. And Square's, I mean, we were actually one of the first beta testers for Square when I remember when we opened 8 years ago, 9 years ago, excuse me. I remember I was telling my wife because we needed a POS system, and I'm kind of the techie guy. I embrace technology. I love technology and trying new things. And back in those days, I mean, 8 years ago, when you purchase a POS system, it was the kind of a computer-based system. It was like you got a computer, you got monitors, and it was like thousands and thousands of dollars. And then when Square was available, I remember it was like the pitch was basically that you buy an iPad, which was like $4.99. The software is free, and you can use it to open up your business. And you know, my wife thought, again, she thought I was crazy. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, and so I remember when Square contacted us, it's like, did you want to be a beta tester? And I was like, sure, you know, sign us up. And we've been using them ever since. So, you know, modern POS systems, you know, they have all the metrics to track financial performance. Metrics like sales, you know, popular items, not unpopular items, items that are not selling, comparisons from sales from today to a week ago to a year ago. They track peak times, you know, when people order during specific times. The beautiful things about the modern POS system is because they integrate also with online stores. They have the online stores, so we can track store sales, in-store sales. So we can track labor on them. So all the metrics are there for modern POS. So it's really easy. It's in one location, and we can look at it, and there's a dashboard that you can view on your web browser and literally look at instant financial figures. Like, okay, how's my labor, like to this minute, how's my labor looking? You know, what's my sales looking? So that's very, very helpful. And I'm sure other modern POS systems, I just chose Square because that's what we use. And then we use QuickBooks because, again, you can cull all that information from your POS system and bring it into QuickBooks. And in QuickBooks, then you can generate the reports you need, the labor, the dailies, the weekly, the monthly reports, forecastings, year-to-date, all that report system that you rely on, QuickBooks does with basically 2 or 3 clicks. So those are really the only 2 tools we use because, you know, when you're running a small business and you know, you're wearing many hats, you know, so between my wife and I, you know, one of us is constantly looking at, you know, at the dashboards, constantly looking at, you know, the operational side of the business. So having those 2 tools really streamline and help us, you know, to make quick decisions if we need to readjust or and see how things are going, you know, by the day or by the week, and helps us plan and forecast for the up and coming weeks and months. So those are the 2 tools that we use on a regular basis.
Yeah, I was also going to mention the POS. Like I said, we had no idea of what was out there and how to run things. It's not just a matter of preparing food and sell it. There's a whole world around it. And really having access to a POS really will really help you. And we did start with Square in the beginning. Later on, when we needed to have a bigger, a cash register and take orders, we went with Clover. And I really like the way they display all these things. I'm pretty sure Square has come up to that level as well, but that helps a lot. I use that. But in my case, because I also help my husband at the restaurant, basically Baldo, my husband, he takes care of all the cooking. And I do everything, all the administrative and all the PR, everything. So he can do what he loves. He loves cooking. He doesn't have to think about it, about everything else. So I'm the one who's wearing the hat. And at this point, actually, I have started to, I don't want to say delegate, but in a way it is, but really, just contracting other people to, or other services to help me out to keep everything in order. From the beginning, I had a lawyer just to keep ourselves protected, a tax consultant, and an accountant. And that really helps me so I don't have to worry about that. I am still working on this area. I'm learning more and more, and I like to keep myself open to always learn from other people from their experiences. And I take the opportunity every time I can to take the classes that are being offered or seminars. Like even right now, I'm taking a cohort with Rain, and I'm meeting, more than the information that I could be getting, I am meeting a lot of people who I can learn a lot from and who are willing to help me, guide me, give me ideas. So I would say that will be some of my tactics and the tools that I use. I also use QuickBooks, but I do it in conjunction with the people who help me out. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both. So my last question revolves around our difficult year that we just had. 2020 was certainly difficult, especially for the restaurant industry. But it also seems like it perhaps will have some lasting changes that it's left behind. So I'm curious how you both see the restaurant business changing in response to the pandemic, perhaps related to some of the new technologies that have emerged, or in ways that maybe customers have different needs around the way they want to receive food.
Yeah, no, for us, pivoting was key for us, and to know how to pivot successfully. And so I remember when the pandemic hit, everyone was unsure what's going to happen to this industry. And I remember talking to my wife about it, and we said, okay, what's how are we going to prepare, and what changes do we need to address? And I'm the techie guy, so I built the online website, and we had a web online store prior to the pandemic, but it wasn't extensive. It was just it was very limited, and because we really wanted customers to come to the shop and see the wares, because being there was we thought was the experience. And then I said, well, why don't we expand, our online offerings? Why don't we expand our social media offerings? So offer, Noisette products on social media, expand third-party services. So, because, at the end of the day, I don't know if people use Postmates, people use Grubhub or, DoorDash. So we expanded all those services. And Noisette, didn't really suffer a lot from this pandemic. Actually, it was probably our best year ever because we were able to make all those changes and pivot and we offered curbside, we offered deliveries, all those things that just wasn't there before the pandemic. Next thing we knew, that we were busier than ever. We were orders were coming in from curbside to delivery to third parties so it was so for us, being able to recognize, okay, what isn't working, stop, and then what can we do to increase revenues, drive sales and all that. So that was relatively easy for us because I always embrace the power of technology. That being said, you need to embrace and seek out technology and the changes that it brings with it, because that really was a life-saving for us. Because without it, we're just a storefront, and to communicate to people, hey, come down to downtown Eugene, oftentimes is a challenge. So with technology, people can they can order online, they can order delivery. So it really assisted us and helped us tremendously. But it's also a double-edged sword with technology because there's a learning process, keeping up with technology. But also the challenges, it's when technology doesn't work, the old saying, it's great when it works, but it's really, it sucks when it doesn't work. So it's a double-edged sword, but I think the rewards from technology far outstrip the challenges. And there are many challenges because, technology it constantly changes, and you're kind of keeping up and trying to catch your breath. But as long as it's bringing in sales, as long as it's allowing you to communicate with your customers, keeping you engaged, it serves its purpose. So I mean, because we were a frontline business, we were a coffee shop, retail, so we were allowed to stay open during the pandemic. We didn't have to shut whatsoever. We eliminated seating, which took a lot, which really helped us because it alleviated the cost of the labor to provide the services for the seating, the cleaning, the bathrooms, all that. And we just focused on being a grab and go concept, which was really the original concept of Noisette. We just really wanted to be a grab and go. You came in, you looked at what the offerings were, you picked and choose, and then you left. It was only when our friends told us, well, we want to sit down, we want to, drink coffee for hours on end, we want to, use your Wi-Fi for free and all that, where it's like we said, okay, we accepted that was the norm. But when the pandemic hit and we eliminated the front of the house aspect, it really helped us financially because it was just a savings that we never realized until it's like, wow, we're actually doing better than we thought we would be doing. So, so pivoting, being able to change, being able to recognize what's working, what's not working, and being able to make those tough decisions. I mean, they are very challenging decisions to make, and being able to do them in a timely manner, because oftentimes people are paralyzed with decision, and oftentimes that can be very stifling for the business. But if you have someone that can, lay it all out and say, okay, let's try this and see what happens, I think there's real benefit in being able to make decisions on a timely manner.
Well, it has been really has been a roller coaster. You know, when we had to first close, we didn't know what it was. We closed for a couple weeks. The whole public house did. Then we started opening for a few days. Springfield is definitely different than Eugene. And so people in Springfield are more like home people. They're always at home. And but they're very caring. They started contacting us and finding out, you know, and what's going on. And one of the things that I think it's here to stay is our contactless ordering system online. That we had it before the pandemic, before it hit, and people really didn't like it. Some young people will get into it. But once this hit, that was our way to communicate with people. Even though we were not open to the public, people were able to go online, publichousehub.com, and it opens up. It will, and back then, the only option was takeout. And so all the different menus come up. You pick the one restaurant that you want to order from, or you can order an item from each restaurant if you want. But, you know, the menu opens up, you order, and then input your information. And once you're in there, you know, you pay. And if you want it as soon as possible, you know, we'll prepare it. If you want a specific time, you let us know and we'll have it at that time. So that really helped. And I think that's one of the things that will stay for sure, you know, ordering online. So the takeout and delivery options now, I think people didn't think much about those before. But now that more people are staying home to work, and so many other people have gotten used to it and they don't really need to go to a place, you know, to eat. I think that those are two other things that are going to remain.
Yeah.
The takeout and the delivery options, you know, for sure. But, you know, what I think is the one thing that is never going to change is that we're humans and we need that human connection. We have human needs. And I know that there's a lot of people, I remember people who would come to the restaurant. Maybe they didn't have the need to buy something to eat, but they were there to get fed emotionally, maybe, you know.
Sure.
They just wanted to be there because we made them feel comfortable, happy, excuse me. And so that's something that will never change. And like Michael was mentioning before, finding out the ways to communicate with them on their level. You know, now we have a very limited time to communicate with a customer. And so we need to use that little time, maybe as 1 or 2 or 3 minutes. We need to use that time to let them know that we appreciate them and we want to serve them. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else that I thought of, but all the technology that happened, the changes that happen in technology, you know, definitely will stay, and it will really take us to the next level. whatever next level is. Yeah.
Thanks, Abby. Appreciate your perspective on that. Does do either of the participants have any questions? That's the end of my formal questions for Michael and Evie.
Yes, this is Tom Morley.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Tom.
go ahead, Tom.
Yes, again, sorry for the fan noise off my lousy computer. Thank you both for your stories. I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I was the subject of the POS. Did you? I have several questions. Let me start with this one. Do you require new customers to try something new in their life and visit you? Did you lose that in this last year, or did you get orders to go that were just people that already knew you?
We definitely got more new customers in this pandemic than before the pandemic, because customers were reaching out for for what we were offering. So we definitely got a lot more new customers than prior to the pandemic.
But I feel like you have really good pandemic food. It's just like croissants and cookies and cakes. I mean, that's what I'd want to be eating all pandemic long.
and that's also changed, because prior to, people would come from Noisette, they would get a coffee or a pastry and, maybe a sandwich for later. Now it's like, okay, I'll take 2 croissants, I'll take 2 muffins, I'll take 2 of these. It's like, great, so it's perfect. It is perfect pandemic food.
You were asking something specific. I think I didn't get it. Can you remind me?
If you got new people or if you only got repeat people that already knew you,
okay.
like how did they find you during the pandemic?
Yeah, well, a lot of the, like I said, it changed. It changed throughout the time. In the beginning, it was like the people who knew us, they were coming back to support us. Little by little, especially as we started opening up a little more. And we had the electronic, the ordering online. Actually, it changed. A lot of the older folks stopped coming, or they would order through the phone. But the people who are coming now the most are younger people, younger generations. So it did change, but it wasn't affected. It's not like the numbers change or anything. It's just a different group came in.
I was going to say that we didn't touch on the platform that the public house uses, but that's a pretty cool online ordering platform that they use that definitely makes it a lot easier to navigate, the complexities of ordering from multiple vendors.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine that's helped a lot. I know that my, family, we order stuff from drinks from them and food from you. And so it works really well. I also just wanted to say that, Michael, we had a lot of mac and cheese at our house over the pandemic. Lacey was, my partner was, she'd be probably be embarrassed that I'm saying this. She's coming in a lot. That was like I just need mac and cheese. I'm going to get that today.
That sounds good.
Yeah, they make a pretty good mac and cheese.
Let me ask another question on the POS systems. Can you connect to your to the county when you need them? Do you have to do reporting to them or the Oregon employment offices to keep the records properly for your hours and wages and taxes? Michael had mentioned that he combines it with QuickBooks. Is that to give it to your accountant, or is the POS system smart enough to do some of the accountants and tax people's work?
Nope, it's we extrapolate it from the POS, bring it into QuickBooks, and then we give that to our accountants. POS system is it's not it's just about generating sales. It's just how do you generate sales for your business. The labor, you can input your labor, whatever labor app or software that you're using into the Square POS. You can import your third-party deliveries, like we imported Postmates, Grubhub into the Square POS, so we can run multiple reports on those various services. So it's all really just about generating sales for the business. So that it does not, you would have to just export all that information into whatever accounting software or accountants that you would work with. So.
You know, with Clover, there is an option to connect directly with QuickBooks. We don't do it, but there is a way that you can connect all your cells and, you know, everything to QuickBooks, and there will be a connection, but I really don't know how it works. And I believe there are other, I don't want to call them apps, but there are other things that you can connect with. Probably not directly to the government, but I don't do it through there. But I think there are some options.
Okay, thanks. And another question, you mentioned Grubhub as one of the examples, but any of the delivery services, as a novice, I read that it doesn't leave very much profit for you. How does that work?
So it depends on the third-party company, you know. So it ranges between I want to say 15% to even 30-35% cost. So a couple things you can do. You can, as a business, you can take on the expense. You can add it to the cost of the products or wares that you're offering as a cost of doing business. So like if you order from Postmates or Grubhub for Noisette, the items you'll be ordering will be a little bit more expensive than if you order from our online store or if you called in and for curbside. So there is you know, that's the price of having a third-party delivery,
Yeah.
meaning that, you know, you understand that, you know, it's not going to be the same exact price, it's between 15 to 35% markup. So some third-party solutions make sense for us. Others we decided it was too high of a markup, you know, that we weren't comfortable asking our customers to pay that much for what we were offering. So you just have to see which third-party company works for you, you know, for your business, and go with them. But they definitely helped our business because again, offering, you know, we have 3 third-party services. And they're all very different. They have different demographics, you know. Some of them are for younger, hip people. Some of them are for families. Some of them, you know. So and our, you know, our demographic at Noisette is you know, the whole spectrum. You know, we don't have just one demographic. We have, you know, everyone from, you know, young babies that are trying their first brownie or cookies to, you know, seniors that love our soup and they wished it was piping hot, you know. So so yeah, you just have to find a third party that works with what you're offering and go from there.
Evie had mentioned that people have human needs, that they need to feel welcomed and be fed, and it seems like last year might have been a kind of impersonal year. You did mention you only have 2 or 3 minutes maybe on the phone with the customer for customer satisfaction. What my understanding is that service is half of the reason you keep your customers. How is you feel things coming back to normal where people come in because they want to be taken care of?
Yeah, I believe it's always been there, you know. It's just that we didn't have the opportunity to be sitting, you know, and sitting down and serving them. And so, like I mentioned before, for a new customer to only have a very short connection, very short time connection, um, to tell you the truth, in the beginning, we thought, how are we going to do this? This is impossible. We need that time. But we figured it out. We were able, actually, people were concerned to not be close to each other. So that was part of taking care of them and offering them that, like I would have people come by to pick up their food, and you know, so many of them I will take over the phone their orders, and they will say, can you please just place it on my trunk? They had already paid. So yes, of course, I would love to do that. And when I will place the food out in their trunk, I will make sure that it would, it would be well set so it wouldn't um, fall or anything. So just looking for the different opportunities in which to care for people so they will feel cherished. And so we just continue being ourselves. It's nothing that you can fake, you know, it's not like something you go to school to learn. It's just who you are. And
Great.
you will know, you
Thank you.
will know.
I think that I learned something from both of you because I'm leasing a restaurant here in Florence. I put a link to the pictures on the chat, and I'm learning about your experience in the business because my tenant, I need to understand their life a little. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, well, we're getting close to the top of the hour, and I was wondering, Garcia, do you have any questions? I know, I don't know what your first name is, but I'm just going by your Zoom name. You're welcome to ask a question as well if you have any. Otherwise, we'll just go with like closing thoughts and.
Y yo hablo español.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So,
But, you know, I was going to say that, you know, we don't know what the future is going to look like for this industry because it's, you know, we're still in it. We're still in a pandemic, and, you know, it's things are slowly returning, but, you know, you won't know. I mean, it's going to take a while to get back to whatever normal is anymore because, you know, it's just, there's still a lot of uncertainty, but I think, you know, if you you know, you work hard and you look at your business and you look at what's working and what's not working, and you're able to make quick decisions and you can adapt to the environment, you know, I think you have a very good chance in succeeding and surviving. And that's what we've done, and we've stuck to that plan, and it seems to work for us. So, you know, we're still excited. I mean, the industry, I love this industry. I mean, I've done it since, you know, I was a teen, but, you know, it's definitely, you know, it's, we didn't see this coming. Yeah.
There will always be the need to eat.
Yep.
And so it is a good way to serve others. Feed them. Feed them with love.
That's a beautiful closing. Feed them with love. Micah, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I just want to say thanks. I really appreciate having both of you in the community and appreciate your food. And yeah, I know you're both busy, so very much appreciate you giving us some time this afternoon.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Virtual applause. Yay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Awesome. Well, take care, everybody. Have a great
Thank you.
night.
Yeah.
Talk to
You
you
too.
soon.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.